live here and make sure that we should be public with this now. Let me just make sure that I'm actually doing this the right way and that I am. Yep, good. All right, so let me just click on this and then we'll get ready to go here. Hey guys, so it's going to be easier for me to do this live than to play around with this. So just bear with me 1 second. I think I can even, there we go. Yay, even got the camera working. Just bear with me here. And we are good to go. See how this goes. So if they come out and if we see 50 basis points, it's going to be all the interest rate sensitive stuff. So let's see what we get here. I think you're going to get 25 in the dot plot. It's really what's going to do it. And then we'll have to see what they do with that dot plot. But I think that's really where you're at. We got here. We got a minute 30. And let's get to this so I can get the dot plot fast. Got a minute, and then we'll be good to go. Looks like. Mm-hmm. I'm just cleaning stuff up to get ready. Let's take a look at the ES here. And we're going to see the initial reaction to it. And then we can go over, and then we'll start looking at some of these other names and see what they do. Open, for sure. Anything over 50 or anything over 25, you're going to rip. $25 basis points. 25 basis points. Give me a second, guys. All right, so you're probably going to sell off here. Hold on. You're going to probably sell off. You're not as aggressive going into 26. Just watch this. You're probably going to reverse here. Just watch. Let's see what they do. Give it a minute. So you're looking at 25, 25, 25 going out to the end of the year. 50 more into 25. They looks like one of them said you should have cut 50, but that's not it. Going into 26, it's not enough. So you're probably going to reverse here. I'd be careful. Let's see what happens. Yeah. I don't know if it's enough. Let's see. Yeah, maybe the banks. They want the banks. Looks like they're buying the regionals. And they're going to buy the home builders, it looks like. So I think the consistency of longer term is getting them. I think that's what you're seeing here. I think you're seeing that consistency is what they're going after. So they're buying the home builders. I think it's the consistency. Man, they're screwing with people here, huh? That'll wake you up. Let's go take a look at the dot plot in a minute here. Yeah, that makes sense. Mm-hmm. Wait a second, guys. They're buying the home builders and they're buying regionals. Yeah, 3%. And they're blowing out of tech. So they're going to buy the mortgage companies. If they're going to buy the mortgage companies, they should buy LDI. And they're not. This is really interesting. It looks like you had one really big trade of all this garbage. And it looks like they blew out of all the garbage at the same time, like right on the level. I wonder if that's to shake the tree. Say it. All the crap names they blew out of right away. But they're buying these. Hands down, they're buying the home builders. Now, obviously, which is the 3X one. DPST too. Right? They can't even get in this fast enough, which means your Sophies of the world, they should go. Hood should rally. It's reversing already. How about Goldman? We're going to buy the big banks. Goldman's going to break out. That means JP Morgan's going to break out. So they're buying the big banks. They're not buying the little guys. I'm not sure why. We're all over the place, guys. I'd be real careful here until you get some semblance of this. I got to go through the dot plot, but I have a bunch on here, so bear with me. You're rejecting hard. It's not a soft reject. So you want to make sure that it holds. I wonder if LDI is doing the same thing. It's all one big trade, huh? They're getting rid of all the garbage. I would also mark off the open bar on all your 2 o'clock trades. So clean it all off and then just focus on that one data point and use that as demarcation lines. Because if the algos give up, because that's where the algos triggered. So if the algos start giving up like that, they're your demarcation lines. That's what you want to watch big time, bigly. See how this broke already? So you just want to start going through them. Whatever broke, you probably don't really want to go near. And the ones that didn't break, that means tech's going to roll, right? What's Microsoft doing? So you broke the 2 o'clock already. See the difference in the trades? So what are they doing? They're blowing out of tech, right? They're blowing out of tech. And I still buy in the regionals for now. All right. Well, let's do this because that's a control bar. So let's put a little alert there. Boop. Let's put a little alert on this bad boy too and see what we get and see if you break or not. Okay. And then if those two fire down, but right now it looks like you're still rotating. It's the same trade. It's the same exact trade. Say it. Let's try and get the dot plot here. What's up, guys? Yeah, I mean, these are the ones that really should move. Tree. Super thin, though, isn't it? But that makes a lot of sense. Tree. I would think Rocket would be a lot higher, but there I go again, thinking. I'll stay for his speech, too. The speech is going to be super important. All right, what do you got here, buddy? No, nobody breaking.
Partially filled. Water filled. Water partially filled. Water filled.
That's it. Be careful. Really careful. Let this all settle down. Tech's in trouble. Tech's taking it on the chin. I mean, it's not going to get better when Itchy speaks. Like, how's that going to get any better when he speaks? It never does. I would be using those levels as demarcation lines. I was short this. I cut it into the call. I'd be using those for demarcation lines, those levels. Anything that did that, I'd be using it as a demarcation line, 2 o'clock. Anything there, I'd just be using that level. And if you're not above that, I'm not saying not to go long, but you want to use that as your level. It's really clear what they just did there. They just lured you in with false promises, hopes and dreams, and they just smashed them all. This thing's going to be the thing of nightmares. I can tell you that right now. They're already rejecting that level. Broke it and tried to get back over it and just completely matumboed. Say it. Look at it. Watch the rallies and then see how the rallies hold. See the wicks to the upside? Sam? Yeah, you're getting worse. That's a gravestone at the bottom of a chart. It's not ideal. Look at the dot plot. Take a look. They were all trying and then they all faded. I don't think it was deep enough. Mr. Pickle, what are you doing? What are you doing, Mr. Pickle? I got your comment about getting a tax person in here. First cut is it? But what is this, a cut for ants? I'd hire a tax guy to come in and speak. You need a professional to talk about that stuff. There's a couple out there that are decent. So the dot plots in themselves, let's go take a look at them. You're going to have a big shift between July and September. Let me just grab them here. They're right there. And I'll just drop them. And then we can go through them. There we go. I'll do it quickly. Yeah, you're just going to fade, man. It's not going to stop. I mean, it's not going to stop because he speaks. It might tighten up because he speaks, but it's not going to stop. Give me a second here. Yeah, you might bounce because of it, but it's not going to stop. So it just does not look like this is going to give up. I mean, like, look at tech, like NVIDIA, Tesla, all these things are going to break pretty hard. I'll come back to it. You might get some kind of bounce here, but let's go through it really quickly. And now we can start flipping through charts. But I mean, it's basically just SQQs, the trade right now, guys. Pretty obvious to sell. They're dumping the heck out of the market, like across the board. Give me 1 second. I can actually look at notional. Yeah, they can't get out fast enough, it looks like right now. Yep, they're just buying the heck out of puts on the indexes, and they can't sell calls fast enough on the Qs, but they're really buying a lot of puts. They're buying more puts on the S&P than they are on the Qs, for whatever that's worth. Go figure that out. But this looks like we're in a little bit of trouble here. So let's see how this goes here, market-wise, but it looks like it's going to get worse, not better. You might bounce, but I don't know that bounce is going to be sustainable, frankly. So, just the way that this is holding up, it's not really holding up fantastically. Let's just see here for a sec, and then we'll get to it. But you might get tighter into him speaking, but then I think you're just going to roll over again. Give me 1 second here. See something. We'll get to it. All right, cool. So if we are to look at this dot plot, let's blow this up really quickly. And all I'm interested in is September. You can see where they're all congregated for 25. And then you can start seeing how they're dropping. And I think the issue really is that they're not dropping as much. So in other words, in 26, all these people see rates staying the same. That's pretty unlikely. And I think that's one of the things that's hurting you. Now you have a bunch of other people that are looking down, but this should have dropped precipitously. And I think that's your issue, that they're not leaning on this enough. So let's watch what happens here. But the way that I'm looking at it, I think it's going to lead to it's not enough, fast enough for the market. And I think that the market's going to react to that. So let's see how this goes. But that's how I say it. So if I had to figure out and go, why are you selling down? Because they're not moving fast enough in the cuts is how I would look at it. I think that's your reason. I think that's your bias here. So we'll watch this and we'll see how this goes. But if I had to tell you how I'm seeing it, that's pretty much how I say it. You are all over the place, and I think you're going to get tighter into a speech. I think it's good for the housing sector. That's for sure. Let's take this off. I mean, you go out further to 27, you're fine, but I think it's this, this 25 to 26 area that the majority of people are saying, oh, they might just stay the same in 26. And I think that's where the issue is coming in. But we'll see what he has to say. They definitely are buying the market, a bond market. If you can break 4, you might get a trigger there. But overall, I think that you're just going to continue to see the dumping here. You're trying to rally in some of these names, but it's not holding. So you're already fading. So we'll see how it goes. But maybe you push, maybe you bounce. But I won't put a lot of faith in it until he speaks. And then we'll see what he has to say. And we'll see how the market acts to that speech. But they can't get out fast enough out of the stuff. So we'll go from there and watch it. Let me drop this down. But I'd be leaning more towards, if you can't get over that 2 o'clock level, then you're going to have issues. And I think it doesn't matter what the name is. I think that's going to be the issue right now. I'm really surprised how these just imploded. Move this over here so I'm looking at the same thing. Move this over there. I don't think it matters with Circle. I think that they're just trading the name. As far as names like PLTR, I don't think the name really matters. I just think they went out of tech. So unless we start getting over some key levels here, I'm not really thinking that this is going to hold any kind of bounce. I think you're going to tighten up into him, but the majority of this just looks like a dead cat bounce. And the question is really becoming when are they going to roll it back over again? So if you can't stay over that 2 o'clock, where's that 2 level here? You're the only one that held. There's 2 o'clock and you held. You're the only one. Everything else sliced right through. If we clean off all our levels and we make it super simple, find the 2 o'clock. And just mark off those 2 levels. I mean, there it is. see if we get back down here and what happens. You might just be flat into him speaking, and then we'll have a look at it, see what goes on. But overall, it was not great. The reaction wasn't great, and I don't believe they were deep enough. And I think that was your problem more than anything. It looks to me like that was the issue. You had a bunch of people that just feel that maybe you're going to cut 50 basis points in 26, and that's just not going to do it. 2 of 19 see more cuts. 9 of 19 see 2 more cuts. The new guy in there sees 5 cuts, which actually makes sense. They need to cut more. But, it all depends on his speech. Now it's going to be a little bit more on the speech, I think. Now you're talking about downside risk of unemployment. You cut 25 basis points. But let's see what it does. Let's see. Let's play it by ear. I don't think there's much to do now until he speaks, and then we'll have a better sense of it. But even with the interest rates going in that direction from those levels, let's get rid of this. Let's go to that 2 o'clock bar. We'll put in a little alert there just in case. Let's go take a look at the home builders. Get rid of that. And put there. So the home builders didn't come down at all. KRE did not come down at all. RTY did not break your 2 p.m. level. Say it. I swear I had a little line there, didn't I? So if you had to pick one that's holding, that's holding. And you're going to tighten up into a speech, and then we'll figure out which way we're actually going to go here. See if we can get any other color here at all. I'm trying. Let's see what BIDU is doing. Yep. Nothing's really doing anything. I think it's all going to be on him now. Let's get that up and running so that we're good to go. I wonder what they... 10-year go under 4? Mm-mm. I mean, if you had to pick, it's these that are holding. That's really it. Everything else looks really weak. Even on the bounces, they look weak. And that might just be waiting for him to finish, but I'm not really sure what's going to be the motivational factor here to get stuff higher. Like, I'm not really sure what your motivation is going to be there.
Want to partially sell. Want to sell.
I'd watch your 2 p.m. bars.
Want to sell.
And if you can't get through those bars, that's 201, but still you can't even get up there. And I would just kind of watch from there and see what you do. But you're trying to eat up supply here. See all the wicks? Similar here to that 2 p.m. You're eating up supply. So you might actually flip. Watch those 2 p.m. bars. Getting super tight going into him. Mm-hmm. Mm-mm. It's always tough to get a read now. You don't know if they're really pushing them, they're really buying, or they're just trying to get you in ahead of his speech. Tough time. So he speaks, and then we can see what he does, or what he says and how that moves the market. You held 295 here pretty nicely. And your bounces are pretty pathetic so far. 0 follow through. So you're over. So the question is, are they taking you over just to roll you back over? All right, let's go. Here he comes. The most expensive good afternoon in the world. Always good to like mark off these bars. 2 p.m. Here's the speech. Just watch this level. Nothing is really breaking. See, here's your low, here's the high. Now we got to just wait for these things to make a decision to kind of give us an indication. But if we take a look here at the leading names, you're rolling over. So we just want to watch these names. The bear flag. Oh, that's ugly. Down, up, 1, 2, 3, down. That's called a falling three. It's pretty ugly. You don't want that to close here. If that does, we're in trouble. It's not great. If these close like this, what you want here are wicks. You need wicks, or that's going lower. I think we're going to get wicks. 235. So no, we're not getting wicks. Actually, now he's throwing Trump under the bus. So that's going to lead to some issues. You might watch the stuff come in a little bit. Watch this. Here we come with the dumb questions. Such a dumb question. This isn't good. You're getting weaker. You're getting weaker. They're buying puts. You have the highest notional amount of puts being bought on the market right here, right now, out of the entire day. I'm gonna get some coffee. These questions are freaking. All right, you got the highest amount of notional puts being bought on the market right here, right now. Do what you want with that. But you have the highest notional amount of puts being bought on the market right here, right now, and they're done buying calls. Let's go look, see if I can see what's going on elsewhere. You got the highest amount of puts being bought on the NASDAQ right now, period. End of story. That's your gamma wall. 588 huge. That was the hedge wall. We went through that like butter. This was an old call wall. So where's the risk? Where's the real risk? The real risk is that this breaks 2 p.m. level, and the people that bought at 2 p.m. get reversed the position. Okay. All right. Let's get to it. Has this gotten any better? Are they still asking stupid questions? Oh my God. Jesus. He really said that, huh? Yeah, the market's not going to like that. No, you got issues. Yeah, you're done. Jesus. Man. The way he's handling this is not great. Buying a lot of puts here. Let me see something here. Well, that's the wrong one. Jesus. I don't know what happened there. All right, let's go to the AP site. Yeah, he's not helping the market here at all. Like at all. It's getting worse, guys. Yeah, it's definitely getting weaker, guys. Very, very weak. Some of these questions are brutal. What's up, John? Good Lord, this thing gets slow. Seems to be holding these bottoms. We just really want to watch what happens here at 2 o'clock. He's killing us. Still holding these levels. You're not breaking them. You still haven't broken them. They're trying, but they're not breaking. There she goes. Still buying puts on the indexes. Still buying puts on the SPY. Still buying puts on the NASDAQ. They're at records for the day now on both. So they're still leaning that way. The technical levels that we're all looking at, they're kind of getting run buckshot. So our technical levels are kind of getting run buckshot over some things. Um, a lot of the guys are technical traders. I am as well, but you're getting run buckshot over this. And this is why what I do is I find it very helpful. Mark off, here's the event. I put a little red arrow. It tells me when he started speaking and what's happened since he started speaking. I do this on purpose. And the reason that I do this is not because I hate him, but if what he said was constructive to the equity markets, then you would rise from there. And what he's saying isn't, because he's saying that he's admitting that you might have stagflation. And that's your issue here. What he's saying is, yeah, we do have a problem on the jobs front, but yeah, we might also have a problem with the labor market. And no, some of it might be immigration, but some of it might be tariffs. So he's stating the issue. And that's why you're also seeing the interest rate stuff come in, because they're saying that, okay, well, interest rates might come down to spur demand, but you might have a problem. See what the bond market's doing? So they're actually selling bonds on this. All right. So, because what he's also saying is, well, we think we're doing a great job. We think we're just cutting to cut. It's a risk move. He's not saying we're behind the curve and the labor data was wrong for the past 2 years. So for whatever it's worth, that's what he's saying. Whether you agree with it or disagree with it doesn't really matter, but that is what he's saying. And that's why you're seeing some of these levels being run buckshot all over. So do I think that you can bounce here? I mean, be nice, but I don't know, man. Like I've seen what good looks like before. We could we find some nonsense in here. Like here's that breakout from 10 o'clock on Wednesday, right? Was that CPI? Maybe we're going to hold that the 6,600 level. It's possible. Maybe you'll hold that breakout bar, but I'm going to need to see some vol come in the market and see some things happen and see some higher highs. And then maybe I'll try a couple things, but until then, I just want to watch, because he's obviously driving the ship right now. So, in his comments now, if you're going to see a bounce in anything, you would think that it's going to be the RTY more than anything. And, we're not really seeing it yet. So, let's just see. We'll see how it goes. Let's see something here. You do have your undercut here. You are getting that positive divergence right here. So, maybe that is your last undercut before some kind of rally here. That is possible. Let me see something. If I have anything going on here. Revised job number. Yeah, I'd be careful here. Let's see. I don't know. Let's see what happens here. I'd be super careful. Until we see this. Of course, this thing's up. What a nightmare this thing is to trade. I think you're going to go on my Spotify list. Like you just have to buy them. So can you bounce? Yeah, you can. And let's see how this plays out here, but I'm going to have to jump, start making some changes and go from there. What else we got here? Yeah, you are dead cat bouncing a little bit. And you might do that. So, all right, guys, I'm going to jump. I'm going to do, I'm glad I did this. Mr. Pickle, thanks for joining us. Very exciting, Mr. Pickle, to have you in the middle of the day. See you.